गुड़गांव में रेंटिंग बेटर है और बाइंग बेटर है? एंड अगर बाइंग बेटर है तो एट व्हाट एज बाइंग बेटर है? टिल व्हाट एज वन शुड एंजॉय रेंटल, स्टेइंग ऑन रेंट?
So see, my perspective is this कि प्रॉपर्टी खरीदनी तो बहुत ज़रूरी है. Never do this mix up जहाँ आप अगर एक प्रॉपर्टी खरीद रहे हो, you should be very clear, are you buying it from an investment perspective or are you buying it to live?
कहीं ना कहीं I'm sure वास्तु भी रोल प्ले करता होगा.
Very major role.
एक चीज़ ना जो आजकल बड़ा हॉट टॉपिक है गुड़गांव में, दिल्ली एनसीआर में पोल्यूशन बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है. सो डू यू थिंक द राइज इन पोल्यूशन, राइज इन द AQI affecting real estate?
I don't think there's very significant difference that, our market is affected because of pollution because
मूवी ना खोसला का घोंसला, ऐसे एपिसोड्स भी बहुत होते हैं जहाँ सेम प्रॉपर्टी मैंने भी 2-4 जगह पे बेच दिया. मैंने किसी को चाबी दे रखी थी, उसी ने ही 2-4 जगह वो कर दिया. तो कुछ ऐसे भी एपिसोड्स होते हैं, आपने कभी देखे हैं होते हुए?
वैसे बहुत सारे कैरेक्टर हैं हमारी मार्केट में और ऐसे कई इंस्टेंसेस होते हैं जहाँ पे लोग प्रॉपर्टी रेंट पे लेके फिर उसी के फर्जी कागज़ बना के आगे बेच देते हैं. There have been so many such cases at very large scale also. Dealing with investors in general, men have an upper hand, ठीक है, because the investors want to deal with men. They feel it's a rough trade. Dealing in selling homes, women generally will have an upper hand.
Welcome to Neha Kumra's show. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Neha Kumra's show. It's my honor to have you here. Real estate, asset activation, there is a lot to learn from you. But to begin with, for my viewers, who is Pawan Kohli? Who you are as a person, from where it all started, we would like to know that.
So long story, but I'll try to be very precise and keep it short. So basically, born and brought up in Calcutta. Did my graduation in maths from Delhi University, from Stevens College. Did a master's in computer applications from University of Pune, and then got into the software industry, and that's where I was working till about 2008-9, after which, of course, we got into this, in a larger picture, I'd say money management business, where we manage money. I primarily, of course, manage money in real estate. So that's kind of what the journey has been over the last.
Since how long you've been doing asset activation?
So we've been in this money management business from 2008, so it's been almost 18 years now. So we've managed money in multiple asset classes, equities, commodities. We've managed portfolios, but yeah, my primary focus has been managing money and growing money in real estate.
Wonderful. So you started this, how did it come, the real estate? How did real estate came into your bucket?
So we wanted to be in the money management business, hence we started off as commodity brokers, where we were working as commodity brokers on the MCX exchange. And we had an arbitrage set up, and we then gradually got into equity broking. But soon we realized that working in the North Indian market and with most of our clients here in North India and East India in Calcutta, majority of people's portfolios were in real estate. So it was a non-negotiable for us that if we want to manage a majority of their money, we would have to do real estate for sure. So we started off in the broking industry, and then gradually, very quickly, we moved to managing money.
Right. So, when I was going through your profile, I saw the word, read it for the first time, asset activation. And when I saw your profile, you had explained it so beautifully. So for my viewers, can you just, maybe in a short, your definition of asset activation that you would?
So I'll explain it very simply. So when we're looking at any kind of asset, you invest in assets to make money, right? When you make a passive investment in an asset and the asset grows, what you typically look for is getting a certain alpha on top of it, something more over and above what the benchmark is giving. Like if you're looking at the stock market, what is the alpha that a certain stock has given you over and above the benchmark index? Similarly, in real estate, if I just bought a plot and the entire market goes up over 10 years and the prices of all plots double, my alpha would be what have I made over and above that. Now that alpha could come in multiple ways. Either I've changed the usage of that plot, whether I've constructed on that plot and then sold it to get extra return. It's that alpha which is created by the activation of the asset. So as an asset activator, what we're looking to do is what is the value addition I can do on your investment from my side to get you extra return over and above what the market would give you if you just put your money there and left it there. So whatever asset you buy, we would try to activate it in some way to get you that extra alpha. So if you got 10% just leaving your money there, how can I get you 14-15% every year, that extra 4-5% by activating the asset?
और वो कैसे होता?
तो मल्टीपल तरीक़ों से हो सकता है. एक, अगर मैं उसकी लैंड यूज़ चेंज करा दूँ, आपको मैंने अगर एग्रीकल्चर लैंड दी, उसमें अगर कल मैं आपको उसमें एक CLU करा दूँ, से फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने उसका कमर्शियल CLU करा दिया, तो अपने आप उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ गई पर एकड़. सो दैट इज़ एन एक्टिवेशन ऑफ द एसेट. सिमिलरली अगर आपकी कोई खाली जगह पड़ी है, उसको मैंने अच्छा रेंट पे चढ़ा दिया एट अ हाई रेंटल, तो उसके बाद वो यील्ड डिस्काउंटिंग पे बिकेगी, उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ गई. को मे बी अ 10 करोड़ प्रॉपर्टी में सेल फॉर 12 करोड़ आफ्टर इट्स लीज्ड. अगर कोई प्लॉट आपका पड़ा है, उस पर हम थोड़ी और इन्वेस्टमेंट करके उस पर बिल्डिंग बना दें. एज्यूम करो आपका 10 करोड़ का प्लॉट है, उस पर 4 करोड़ की अगर बिल्डिंग बन गई और वो फिर फ्लोर्स अगर 17-18 करोड़ के बिक गए, तो वो एसेट एक्टिवेट हो गया, आपको वो एक्स्ट्रा रिटर्न मिल गया है.
So you are into construction too,
यस,
right? So you help them build the place that they, if the place is not, if the place is raw. So ये कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि हम सबके कहीं ना कहीं एक एंसेस्ट्रल लैंड होती है, या जिसने लैंड खरीदता है, जो वो रियल इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है. जो हम अपार्टमेंट्स खरीदते हैं या फ्लोर्स खरीदते हैं, वो उस लेवल पे ग्रो नहीं करते. लैंड ऑलवेज ग्रोज बिकॉज लैंड में आपके पास में, मैंने कहीं पढ़ा था कि आई वॉज जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू सम इंस्टाग्राम कॉन्टेंट व्हेन आई वॉज प्रिपेयरिंग क्वेश्चंस फॉर यू. सो इट सेड कि जो अपार्टमेंट होता है ना, वो इवेंचुअली 10 साल 20 साल बाद अगर बिल्डिंग गिर गई तो आपको पता नहीं कि आपको क्या मिलेगा उसमें, लेकिन लैंड हमेशा आपका रहता है. सो लैंड इज़ ऑलवेज अ बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट in terms of somebody who is looking at long-term investment. What do you say, land is better or the apartments are better?
If I look at it from your perspective, if I look at it very broadly, yes, generally land, overall gives more return than apartments. But, that cannot be a fixed rule. I can give you very specific examples जहाँ पे apartments ने ज़मीन से बहुत ज़्यादा रिटर्न दिए. Like for example, अगर आपने 2003-04 में अरालियाज़ अपार्टमेंट ले लिया होता 1 करोड़ 20 लाख रुपए का उस टाइम पे, तो आज वो अपार्टमेंट 40 करोड़ रुपए का बिकता है. So that property has appreciated 35 times. Besides the fact that you have also made almost 20 years of rental returns on it, which could be to the tune of another 8-10 crore rupees. So you have taken a 1 crore 20 lakh rupee property and made maybe today, including your rental returns, it's about 50 crores, it's gone 40 times. While a plot which would have been bought at that time, say at Sun City, for example, a 500-yard plot would have been sold for about 1 crore 20 lakhs. Today that plot sells for about 18 crores, which is about 15 times. So that apartment has given 40x return and plot has given only 15x return. But this may not be the case all the time. So because of that, apartment is a very specific investment that you bought Aralyas. For other apartments, you may have only made a 10-12 time return. I look at things very differently. See, land in general is something where the amount of construction that can be done on it is defined today, but it never goes down. It can only increase over time. The FAR only keeps going up over a period of time. As the amount of constructible area on that land keeps going up, the value of the land increases. While in a constructed property, whether it is an apartment or it is a commercial property, the amount of constructed area that you have is fixed, right? It cannot increase. So as the value of the land goes up over time and the value of the property, the constructed area gets older and older, it depreciates. Net, you do make some return, but you don't have that option of reconstructing that property because you're part of a larger development. So hence land is a more flexible investment, which over longer periods of time can give you larger return. But as I gave you an example, it's not always the case. Sometimes apartments can really outperform land as an investment. But where is the major challenge with buying an apartment property? See, when you buy apartments, you are typically buying apartments as homes. Either you're buying it as a home or you're giving it to somebody to use as a home. Now, apartments are generally single family homes with the way current Indian society is. आप 4 BHK अपार्टमेंट लेते हो, आजकल आपको सिंगल फैमिली के लिए ही होता है. आपके अगर 2 बच्चे होते हैं वो बड़े हो जाते हैं. When they get married, typically in a 4-bedroom apartment, you don't have 2 sets of families living, right? So then somebody has to move out and buy another apartment or another property to live in. While in the case of land, residential land, आज आपका एक घर है जो सिंगल फैमिली होम है, आपने छोटी सी 4 BHK की कोठी बनाई है. As the family grows and your children get married, you can have multiple homes on that piece of land. So it can become a multi-family home.
ये तो पुराना ट्रेडिशन था ना, पहले एक फ्लोर होता था, बेटे की शादी हुई एक फ्लोर और डाल देते थे.
बिल्कुल.
आगे बच्चे की शादी हुई, छोटे वाले की हो गई, उसको टॉप फ्लोर पर
लेकिन
डाल दिया.
आज भी आप वो कर सकते हो ना, और वो फ़ायदा क्या होता है कि उसमें आप उसी एरिया में अज्यूम करो आज आप जोड़बाग में रहते हो, ठीक है. आज आप जोड़बाग में अगर रहते हो और आपकी छोटी सी कोठी है, कल आपके बच्चे बड़े होते हैं, वो वहीं रहना चाहेंगे, उससे प्रीमियम एरिया तो नहीं मिलेगा. कल आप उस कोठी में मल्टीपल फ्लोर्स डाल के आपके बच्चे जोड़बाग में ही रह सकते हैं, एन इक्वली नाइस हाउस, इनफैक्ट अ न्यू हाउस. जबकि अगर आप एक अपार्टमेंट में रहते हो, से फॉर एग्जांपल गुड़गांव में एक अच्छे अपार्टमेंट में रहते हो, आप क्रेस्ट में रहते हो और आपका 24 करोड़ रुपए का फ्लैट है. आपके जब बच्चे बड़े होते हैं, 24 करोड़ का है क्रेस्ट जो बड़ा फ्लैट है, अगर उसमें कल आपके अगर बच्चे बड़े होते हैं, उनकी शादी होती है, अब वो क्रेस्ट में ही रहना चाहेंगे. अब या तो वो रेंट पे एक और क्रेस्ट का फ्लैट लें जो 4.5-5 लाख रुपए रेंट पे आएगा, या 24 करोड़ का एक और फ्लैट लें. दैट इज़ नॉट अ वेरी ईजी थिंग टू डू. So they may have to move out of Crest and move to another property. So that is the differences between a landed residential property and an apartment.
कल रात को मेरे और मेरे हस्बैंड की बात हो रही थी, वी वर ड्राइविंग एंड ही सेड लैंड लेके बनाना, ऐसा नहीं अपार्टमेंट में रहना. आई थिंक मेरा थोड़ा सा माइंडसेट चेंज कर दिया आपने इस बात पे, बिकॉज आई ऑल्सो हैव अ सन. सो कल को वो अलग घर में जाएगा, इससे बेटर कि ऊपर नीचे का. वो आई थिंक स्टिल वो पुरानी चीज़ें अभी भी, इफ़ यू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम प्रॉपर्टी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू और यू लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अ पेरेंटल और यू नो फैमिली साथ रखने के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, दोनों तरफ से इट makes
And this is very typical for business families. देखो जो typically people on jobs, on high-end corporate jobs, their kids will typically leave the home and the city in all likelihood even for their studies. Now when they're definitely going to take a job, there's not a very high probability that they'll get the job in the same city. And even if they do, there is not this sort of societal pressure कि मैं अगर क्रेस्ट में रह रहा हूँ, मैं जॉब कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है, मेरा बेटा अब जॉब कर रहा है, वो क्रेस्ट में ही रहेगा. He could be living in Park Place, he could be living in Aralyas, depending on his stature and his job. जबकि अगर एक बिजनेस फैमिली है और आप आज एक क्रेस्ट में रहते
छोटे
हो,
भाई को सेम ही
अब
बिल्डिंग में
जब
दिलाना पड़ेगा.
और आपका अगर बेटा बड़ा होता है, वो बिजनेस ज्वाइन करता है, अब वो क्रेस्ट में ही रहेगा ना, आप उसको डाउनग्रेड तो बिल्कुल नहीं करोगे किसी हालत में. सो फॉर बिजनेस फैमिलीज इज वेरी क्रिटिकल टू बी एबल टू हैव दैट फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, दैट दे शुड नो दैट इफ दे आर लिविंग इन एन अपार्टमेंट, दे शुड बी एबल टू अफोर्ड दैट अपार्टमेंट फॉर देयर चिल्ड्रन एज वेल. Otherwise, you might at some stage have to downgrade them, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, which is not acceptable in front of the society also. So हमने खरीदने की बात करी. I also want to understand कि गुड़गांव में आज रेंटिंग बेटर है और आप बाइंग बेटर है, एंड अगर बाइंग बेटर है तो एट व्हाट एज बाइंग बेटर है, टिल व्हाट एज वन शुड एंजॉय रेंटल, यू नो, स्टेइंग ऑन रेंट. कब आपको एक इन्वेस्टमेंट पॉइंट से सोचना चाहिए?
So see, my perspective is this कि प्रॉपर्टी खरीदनी तो बहुत ज़रूरी है. Never do this mix up जहाँ आप अगर एक प्रॉपर्टी खरीद रहे हो, you should be very clear, are you buying it from an investment perspective or are you buying it to live? अगर आप ये दोनों चीज़ों को मिक्स कर दोगे ना कि यार मैं प्रॉपर्टी ले लेता हूँ, अभी तो इन्वेस्टमेंट है, इसके पैसे भी बढ़ जाएंगे और कल इसमें रह लूँगा, आप हमेशा एक कॉम्प्रोमाइज डिसीजन लोगे, which is not right. So you should definitely make a real estate investment depending on your portfolio, how you want to allocate your funds across equity, debt, commodities like gold and real estate. So buy real estate, but does that necessarily have to be an investment to live in? Maybe not. Maybe you are on a job which could be possibly transferable. So you want to currently live on a rented apartment in Gurgaon because you may be in Bangalore 5 years hence. You have made the right property investment in Gurgaon, but you might not be buying a house to live in. So maybe as you grow up, you get married, you have kids, and you are stable, you've decided where you want to stay because your kids have certain schooling going on, you don't have a transferable job, then you definitely want to buy a house to live in, because in a rental house, you really never know when the landlord can ask you to leave, and you don't want to be constantly moving. Right, so that's the stage when you buy a house to live in. You don't look at it as an investment, क्योंकि चाहे वो 2 करोड़ का हो, 20 करोड़ का हो, आपके लिए तो उसकी वैल्यू, फाइनेंशियल वैल्यू तो कुछ है नहीं, आप उसको यूज़ कर रहे हो. So that's the stage you should look at in buying a house to live. But as an investment, yeah, you can start pretty early. Straight as soon as you start earning, you can look at real estate investments.
What is the kind of, I would say, package one should have? Gurgaon is not cheap. It is expensive. I mean, आप जब तक सोना रोड टच नहीं करते, मतलब एक स्टार्टअप वाले के लिए जो आज स्टार्ट कर रहा है इन्वेस्ट करना, उसके लिए टच करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है until and unless you are an HNI or you've studied from Oxford and your started salary is like good number. I would not number it but should be a good number कि आप गोल्फ कोर्स पे या फिर एक्सटेंशन रोड पे भी फॉर दैट मैटर ले सको। तो आपका जो स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट आता है वो मतलब सोना रोड से ही आता है आज के टाइम पे जो सिचुएशन है, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज़ वेरी एक्सपेंसिव। What is the right budget that one should keep if they want to invest on गोल्फ कोर्स रोड? मतलब स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट क्या है गोल्फ कोर्स रोड का, स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट क्या है एक्सटेंशन रोड का, और स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट क्या है सोना रोड का?
If you're looking at investments and we're looking at residential apartments, on Golf Course Road, na, any reasonable property to buy, you will be looking typically at, see, I'm leaving out the smaller, older apartments that were there 20-year-olds. If we're looking at new apartments which are being built on Golf Course Road, I would say at a bare minimum, we are looking at an investment of 7 to 8 crores to start. Nothing less than that will really cut it, because अगर आप 2000 फुट का भी फ्लैट लोगे और कोई नई प्रॉपर्टी होगी तो 35-40 हज़ार रुपये फुट से कम तो रेट होगा नहीं. That's the starting point. Similarly, now if we move to Extension Road, we should be looking at currently in the current market nothing less than 25,000 rupees per square foot. फिर अगर आप 2000 फुट की प्रॉपर्टी लोगे तो 5 crores would be the starting point of that investment. If I move ahead to the SPR, I'm talking about investment starting at 17,000 rupees per square foot. So that 2,000 square foot apartment would come in at about 3.5 crores. And Dwarka Expressway also starting point will be similar to SPR. We're looking at 16 to 17,000 rupees per square
A lot
foot.
of people are investing into Dwarka Expressway. Do you think it will come out as Golf Course Road or Golf Course Extension Road?
So see, currently these are all developing, I feel, as completely different subcities. Like you in Delhi, we see a North Delhi, East Delhi, South Delhi, West Delhi. Similarly, Gurgaon is developing very similarly. Today, see, driving from Golf Course Road to the other end of Extension Road, Sector 67, 68 at times can take 45 minutes to 1 hour. So Golf Course Road will always be Golf Course Road. That's going to be the most prime part of Gurgaon. Always. Just because of the social infrastructure that's been built there, DLF Golf Links being where the richest people in the country are living there, and that's very close to the Delhi border. You have the most high-end corporate areas. Now you have multiple other micro markets which have come up. You have Extension Road, you have SPR, and we have Dwarka Expressway, right? Extension Road, the initial portions, 58, 59, 60, 61 are again extremely prime. It's going to develop as a super luxury market, which is
Up to
basically
65, I think.
I think 61 is where I would end this, because after that again it's going to take time. But the super luxury segment again will be in this 58, 59, 60, 61, which is going to be like, say, after a DLF phase 5. If you're looking at an investment, you look at in this micro market. So you'll have enormous developments coming in from DLF. You'll have investments coming in from Oberoi, developments coming in from DLF, Oberoi. There's going to be a huge amount of development from Sobha. And M3M also has very large land parcels there. So this market is going to be extremely expensive. I would say over the long term, we should be looking at this going up all the way up to about 50,000 rupees a square foot fairly easily. After that, we come to the next set of micro markets where we are looking at 62, 63, 64, 65, which is again in the luxury segment, not the super luxury. We had a few launches there, which came in even at about 16, 17,000 rupees per square foot. But going all the way up to, we can look at prices going, say, up to 30,000 rupees per square foot in properties like M3M Golf Estate. Arbor is already up at close to about 30,000 rupees per square foot. But this market of these four sectors will probably stay a step behind that initial 58, 59, 60, 61. Then as we cross over towards sector 67, that I'd say is in the premium segment, not the luxury segment. So you'll have a lot of developments in the below 20,000 rupee per square foot market, which should eventually get to 20,000 rupees. And as we cross over on the SPR, you currently do have launches coming in. See, if you look at premium developers and premium properties like DLF, you'll shoot up, because that's a separate integrated township that's coming up. So we don't compare it with the area around it. You'll go up all the way up to 30,000 a square foot. Similarly, Silverglades, Signature Global, not Silverglades, will be taking their township prices all the way up to 35-40,000 rupees per square foot in their branded residences. They're already coming with something at about 24-25,000 per square foot. But generally, SPR will stick to that below 20,000 rupees per square foot belt. unless you are in DLF Privana Township, which is going to be incredible, or you're going to be in the Signature Global Township where prices will go up. Dwarka Expressway फिर बिल्कुल अलग हो गया, वहाँ पे you have varied pricing ranging from 15,000 up to 30,000. So that has its own market dynamics.
यू नो शुरू से हर एक, जैसे क्या है ना, हर बाप का एक सपना होता है कि जब उनकी बेटी की शादी हो ना, तो वो उनको एक सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी के नाम पे एक घर दे दें जो जितना अफोर्ड कर सकता है उसके हिसाब से। पहले सिर्फ गाड़ी फ्रिज होता था, आजकल सब कहते हैं ये सब तो है हमारे घर में या तुम्हारे घर में भी होगा, लेट्स बाय यू अ होम। यू नो कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि गर्ल्स डोंट वांट टू स्टे विद द इन लॉज, दे वांट टू हैव अ सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ अगर पेरेंट्स नहीं रहे या यू नो कल को हमारे बाद में बच्चे आपस में लड़े ना, इसलिए पहले ही बेटी को देके फ्री कर दो, ठीक है। तो एक वो एस्पेक्ट ज़रूर होता है पेरेंट्स के माइंड में। सो क्या ये कौन से ऐसे यू नो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं या फिर कौन से ऐसे एंट्री पॉइंट्स हैं जहाँ पर गुड़गांव में और दिल्ली एनसीआर पे बात करते हैं कि जहाँ पर लोग बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ सिक्योरिटी जो सेफ हैं। यू नो नए बिल्डर्स तो बहुत आ रहे हैं, मतलब यू नो जहाँ डरे हुए भी हो कि पता नहीं डिलीवर होगा नहीं होगा, बट कौन से ऐसे सेफ बिल्डर्स हैं जहाँ पे इफ़ यू वांट टू गिफ्ट योर डॉटर समथिंग कि वो उसकी सिक्योरिटी के पॉइंट से उनको देना है, तो कौन सा ऐसा बिल्डर है जिसमें हम ब्लाइंडली ट्रस्ट कर सकते हैं?
So first and foremost, you know, I'll come to the psychology of a parent. What I have noticed over the last 15 years, when parents want to gift properties to their children, for their sons, they will typically look, depending of course on their budget and their portfolio, they will look at land. While for their daughters, they will look at apartments in gated communities because they feel that it's an easy to manage property. Even if my daughter is married and she's living, say, in some other city, it's a no-brainer for them to, you know, just have a tenant. कोई कभी कब्जा नहीं करेगा property पे, it will grow. कल वो ताला लगा के चली जाएं without a tenant. There is no risk with it, while they feel themselves that our son will be able to manage the land much more easily. So that is the mindset. अब उसमें कौन सा builder, I would only choose what I have typically seen. If somebody can afford a DLF, they will not buy anything else. And DLF can be afforded at every price point in different areas, right? Within NCR and outside. So generally, I have seen if anybody has gifted anything, it's like, you know, gifting a Rolex. Ki you will want to gift a DLF property to your child. Nothing else. And अगर आप नहीं अफोर्ड कर पाते DLF और एक स्पेसिफिक एरिया में किसी स्पेसिफिक रीज़न से आपने चीज़ देनी है, तभी आप और कुछ देखते हो। तो खुद के लिए तो फिर भी आप इधर उधर देख लेते हो, आपकी दूसरी रिक्वायरमेंट्स होती हैं। बच्चे के लिए आई हैव नोटिस, आई हैव नेवर सीन एनीबडी गिफ्ट एनीथिंग अदर देन अ DLF टू देयर चाइल्ड अनलेस दे इनहेरिटेड समथिंग एल्स, और वो पढ़ी हुई है चीज़। और अगर नई चीज़ खरीदनी है तो वो दूर भी ले लेंगे, लेकिन वो खरीदेंगे DLF की प्रॉपर्टी की।
सो अपार्ट फ्रॉम DLF, अगर चलो DLF तो रोलेक्स हो गए, बट रोलेक्स का बजट नहीं है तो ओमेगा भी ले सकते हैं हम, कार्टियर भी ले सकते हैं, देयर आर मैनी अदर ऑप्शंस। तो वो क्या हैं जो आपके हिसाब से टाइम पे डिलीवरी हो जाती है, यू नो मेंटेन करने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, जो बेसिकली DLF के भी यू नो प्लस पॉइंट्स हैं कि मेंटेनेंस के इश्यूज़ नहीं होते, बहुत सारे और जो चीज़ें हैं टेकन केयर ऑफ हो जाती हैं। सो विच अदर बिल्डर्स यू थिंक आर promising or are, you know, safe in terms of leaving something for your kids?
So see, I've only seen over the last 20 odd years 2 other developers who have delivered to spec and where the properties are very well maintained. Okay, I'm saying at scale. That has been Emaar India and M3M. M3M has also delivered all their properties on time to spec and where the properties have been maintained, and Emaar India. Besides that, talking of a niche developer who has not done too many projects, who works on limited projects, Central Park has done an incredible job in the property they've delivered. To spec, superbly maintained, and whatever work they're doing ahead also has been fantastic. So I would go with something like an Emaar, Central Park or an M3M if I could not afford a DLF.
एक चीज़ ना जो आजकल बड़ा हॉट टॉपिक है कि गुड़गांव में, दिल्ली NCR में पोल्यूशन बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रहा है। So do you think the rise in pollution, rise in the AQI affecting real estate in terms of, you know, I will elaborate what I really want to understand. I hear a lot of people saying गोवा में invest कर लेते हैं, you know, like a holiday home. They don't want to invest in Gurgaon or even if you go little away, Sona Road also, Dwarka also, they feel गोवा में कर लेते हैं, देहरादून में कर लेते हैं, या even नैनीताल में, भीमताल में, there are a lot of places which are picking up. Do you feel that difference is happening, or is it just hype?
I don't think there's very significant difference that, our market is affected because of pollution, because the primary drivers of the market are all local from NCR itself, whether it is corporate movement from Delhi to Gurgaon, take care, or whether it is people selling homes in Delhi coming to Gurgaon. So Delhi में भी उतनी pollution है, Gurgaon में भी उतनी pollution है. Similarly, NRIs buying back in NCR because eventually they need retirement homes there, or they're buying for their parents. Again, they need to be centered here. इसका ना एक बहुत specific reason है. जो India है ना, unlike say the West, say if you're in the US, right, you get the same lifestyle whether you are in a very, very large metro city or you can be 100 kilometers away in a small town. More or less, your lifestyle is kind of similar in the sense the kind of restaurants you get access to, the safety, security, the schools, the hospitals, everything stays relatively similar. India mein na, those things change drastically in a 20-kilometer distance. So if you're sitting on Golf Course Road today and you go 25 kilometers away to say Sector 95 Gurgaon, your life would change drastically. So you have to stay on Golf Course Road today. So शहर बदलना तो बहुत ही बड़ी बात है. You cannot go to a tier 2, tier 3 city in India and expect the same kind of life that you get, say, in a tier 1 town like Delhi or Gurgaon. तो अगर आपको दिल्ली गुड़गांव में रहना है और पूरे नॉर्थ इंडिया में यही ऑप्शन है, तो आपको वहीं रहना पड़ेगा irrespective of the pollution. So pollution is not affecting the market as such, but yes, it is affecting the industry in terms of development cycles. हर साल काम 3-3 महीने के लिए रुक जाता है. तो अगर कोई 5 साल का प्रोजेक्ट है तो उसमें 15 महीने का तो डिले हो ही गया वैसे ही, विच इज़ ऑलमोस्ट 1 year 3 months. तो 5 साल का प्रोजेक्ट 6.5 साल में ख़त्म होता है. So that's where the real impact is coming in, which in turn is of course leading to slower deliveries. Slower deliveries means your exits are slower, hence fresh investments happen slower. So that's where the major challenge is currently.
हमने रियल एस्टेट को एक ब्रॉडर टर्म्स में समझा है, बट मेरा प्रोस्पेक्टिव हमेशा ना विमेन के नज़रिए से चीज़ों को समझने का रहता है कि कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो हम कहीं ना कहीं विमेन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अगर मतलब उनको समझाने के लिए अगर करें ना, तो घर में बड़ी अच्छी सुख शांति हो जाती है. अगर women of the house is satisfied with the project that you're investing in, तो वो मुझे लगता है कि फलता फूलता भी है. So जब तक women satisfied है ना, तो थोड़ा सा women को समझाते हैं कि क्या सही है, क्या नहीं है, क्या उनके लिए सही है. कुछ उनके क्वेश्चंस हैं जो मेरे पास DMs में आए हैं, तो मैं आई वुड लाइक टू एड्रेस दोज क्वेश्चंस विद यू. एक जो क्वेश्चन सबसे ज़्यादा मुझे पूछा गया व्हेन आई स्पोक टू फ्यू ऑफ माय क्लाइंट्स एंड व्हेन वी talk in sessions, there are a lot of women who are hesitant before investing in real estate compared to men. Or I would say there is a huge difference in earning the money and investing in real estate. मैं आज कमा सकती हूँ, लेकिन जब मैं कमाऊँगी ना तो मुझे लगेगा यार गोल्ड ले लेती हूँ, बैग ले लेती हूँ, मेरे इन्वेस्टमेंट ना थोड़ी सी डाइवर्सिफाइड हो जाती है. आई स्टिल डोंट रीच टू अ लेवल वेयर आई लुक एट रियल एस्टेट एज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट. सो just help it simplify for women कि क्या starting points होते हैं women के लिए, क्या उनके लिए benefits होते हैं, how they should look at money, and why is investment a good opportunity, why real estate is a good investment opportunity than many other. और अगर आपने divide भी करना है तो कितना real estate में रखना चाहिए, कितना आपको और other liquidity funds में रखना चाहिए.
So first coming to why women are generally more hesitant to make investments into real estate, let me take it a step back. So I feel it's a very social issue in India, where growing up generally boys are treated more in a way where they're taught about investments, they are made part of those conversations, while girls are not. I don't want to generalize to that large an extent, but yeah, in majority of society that's what the case is. As women grow up and start earning for themselves, see, earning is something that they're very comfortable doing, but the mindset of investing large sums of money and getting returns out of it is something that they've probably not grown up with in India.
Right.
Hence, they're a little hesitant to, in any case, make large investments. And why real estate becomes a big challenge is, vis-a-vis, say, in equity, you'll find a lot of women investing very easily in equity is because equity has a cop-out. It is very liquid. So you can make mistakes and you can get out with small hits. Real estate is a very long-term commitment, and that long-term commitment is something that maybe they're not ready to make at an early stage. So I feel that is changing very quickly over the last 5-7 years. You'll find a lot of young corporate professionals, women who are making large real estate investments. Right now, what should they be looking at? The same thing as Ben would be looking at, right? There are no real challenges in terms of what they can buy and what they can't. Of course, certain asset classes like, say, agricultural land outside the city may be a little more challenging for women to be able to explore because those are totally, completely male-dominated sectors. Even doing a visit there, doing all your homework, exploring that market can be a little risky. Safety issues are there. Hence, women generally tend to stay in their investments within city limits, and they typically want to invest in built-up properties rather than in properties where, in land-related properties. So that's where currently it is. So a built-up property from a reputed developer, whether it's residential or commercial, take it depending on what you're looking at, whether you want to look at high lease rentals on commercial or you want to look at residential, or even retail properties in built-up malls or shops can be very fair investments for women.
जब हम women की बात करते हैं ना, तो today we have lot of single women, चाहे वो amount alimony से मिला हो या फिर ancestral wealth मिली हो. We have money. We are still looking at the best property. तो क्या challenges होते हैं या क्या questions होते हैं जो एक women को समझने चाहिए जिसने अभी तक कुछ नहीं सोचा था, because शायद married थी, शायद फादर ही हमेशा सब कुछ करते थे. आज उसने सोचा कि नहीं, मुझे इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी है, मुझे अपना पोर्टफोलियो बिल्ड करना है. तो इन टर्म्स ऑफ रियल एस्टेट क्या उनके क्वेश्चंस होने चाहिए, क्या उनको समझना चाहिए बिफोर दे गेट इनटू, और बिफोर दे मेक द डिसीजन फॉर देमसेल्व्स?
There's nothing different that women should do. Anybody new entering real estate, whether you're a woman who's doing it at the age of 40 or you're a young male corporate professional doing it at 25, you need to know what is your objective of buying a property? Are you buying it for investment? Are you buying it to stay? That's the most important thing. Now, when you're looking to buy for stay, you generally have a fair idea of what you want to buy, right? Because everybody has already lived in houses. You've grown up in a house, so you know what you want. When you're looking at buying an investment property, that's where then there are multiple options. What is the kind of risk you're ready to take? If you're ready to invest in an early stage investment, like say you want to invest in an under construction development property, is that what you want to do? There will be a certain amount of execution risk. Are you ready to take that? Or do you want to buy a very, very steady, ready, rented out property? Do you want higher return? You'll buy a commercial property with the risks that कि चलो 6-7% return आता है, but कल अगर वो खाली हो गई, I have a significant maintenance outflow which I have to make every month to maintain that property, right? The maintenance bill. I'm okay, but I don't want to take that risk. I buy a residential property which is leased out. I get 2.5-3% return, but very steady, very safe. Tomorrow, if it gets empty, there's hardly any maintenance cost to it. So the CAM charges are low, so I can just lock it up and keep it. So the questions are very similar that a woman would ask vis-a-vis a man. It's just that, when you're doing it at that stage in life, and it is like, as you said, the example you gave, it is money which you have received from elsewhere, you're very scared that this is the only amount of money that I have. It's a lump sum that has come to me. So if you have that kind of mindset, then you should ideally look at a ready built up property in a condo community. You buy a condo which is leased out if it's on, you want return from it, or you're using it yourself.
So आपने ना जैसे बोला कि लड़का हो या लड़की, it doesn't matter, the questions will be same. So a 25-year-old, like today we have a lot of startups, a lot of young kids are making a lot of money and they are ready with the money to invest, but कहीं ना कहीं एक mind में रहता है कि shall I do it in real estate or mutual funds or gold or any other sort of investment? What do you suggest for someone who's just starting up in life, and how should they divide? And since you are into wealth management, I would say, so how do you suggest somebody who's starting their career in life and they want to start investment from the day one, how do they divide into this whole investment portfolio?
See, to invest in real estate, in any case, you do need a certain basic capital base, right? So if you're starting out, you will not have the basic capital to be able to start. Other asset classes like debt and equity, of course, you can start even with 1,000 rupees if you want, right? So initially, of course, you need to start saving money rather than investing money. And those savings would ideally go into something like equity, debt, gold, if that's what you choose to do. And you gradually build a certain nest egg. Say you start off with, you try to collect about 50 lakhs, 1 crore before you really look at entering real estate. I would never suggest entering real estate in, say, fractional real estate with small amounts of money. I would always suggest buying a property which you can eventually register in your own name. So that basic amount, which is typically at least 20%, even if you're on a great job and you get an 80% loan, whatever ticket size you're looking at, you need at least 20% of that money from your end to be able to invest. तो अगर आप एक 2 करोड़ रुपए का भी घर खरीदना चाहते हो या इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाहते हो तो आपको 40 लाख रुपए तो पहले इकट्ठे करने पड़ेंगे. So that should be the first goal, that in the initial years of my job, when I don't have any significant responsibilities, I can save up that amount of money to make the down payment for my first property and then take a loan on it, right? Uske baad, the rest, the loan takes care of itself because as you're working, you keep paying your EMIs and वो आपका एक प्रॉपर्टी बन जाती है.
एक ना माइंडसेट है, प्रॉपर्टी से ना आप अपनी वेल्थ क्रिएट कर सकते हो, आपके पैसे डबल हो जाते हैं, यू बिकम रिच जस्ट बिकॉज यू बॉट सम लैंड. और ऐसा नहीं है कि ये 100% गलत है, बिकॉज बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो शायद आज गुड़गांव में रिच हैं बिकॉज उनकी लैंड्स थी और आज वो वेल नोन नेम्स हैं इन द इंडस्ट्री और अराउंड. सो हाउ कैन वन मेक मनी थ्रू real estate, and if not then what happens, where they lack, जहाँ वो नहीं कर पाते हैं वो चीज़.
तो सी फर्स्ट तो ये जो पर्सपेक्टिव है ना कि प्रॉपर्टी से ही आप अमीर बनते हो, आई थिंक इज़ टोटली रॉन्ग. देखो, बिजनेस से प्रॉपर्टी बनती है, प्रॉपर्टी से बिजनेस नहीं बनता. प्रॉपर्टी से इनकम लिमिटेड बनती है, पैसिव इनकम बनती है जो आपको सिक्योरिटी दे सकती है, लेकिन प्रॉपर्टी से आप अमीर नहीं बनते. आप अमीर अपने काम से बनते हो और वो पैसे प्रॉपर्टी में आप साइड करते हो. यू पार्क इट इन प्रॉपर्टी एंड प्रॉपर्टी ऑलवेज गिव्स अ रैशनल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न. देयर कैन बी सम क्रेजी टाइम्स when property multiplies multiple times over in a couple of years, but normally property will give you a certain return over the inflation level. तो आपको अपनी, चाहे आप जॉब में हो चाहे आप बिजनेस में हो, your wealth creation happens, that real excess amount of money that you make is always from your business and your job, which you then park into property. उसको आप साइड कर देते हो कि कल उस पर जो ग्रोथ रेट ऑफ रिटर्न आना है उससे वो पैसे ग्रो होते हैं. ओवर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम वो प्रॉपर्टी आपको एक पैसिव रिटर्न देना शुरू कर देती है जिससे आपके खर्चे निकल सकते हैं. बट दिस होल आइडिया इज़ रॉन्ग कि आई कैन स्टार्ट विद अ स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ मनी एंड देन इन्वेस्ट इट इन रियल एस्टेट एंड फ्लिप इट एंड बिकम अ मिलियनेयर. नो, you need to do something else to make money and use property as a vehicle to grow that money. Property is not going to make money for you. So that's what we need to keep in mind. So this is something that, जब भी मार्केट में हलचल होती है और मार्केट क्रेजी हो जाती है, जैसे कोविड के बाद हुआ है, लोगों को ये लगना शुरू हो जाता है कि पैसे प्रॉपर्टी में ही बनते हैं. नो, इट्स एक्चुअली मनी दैट यू मेक समवेयर एल्स व्हिच यू पार्क इन प्रॉपर्टी, एंड यू शुड हैव एटलीस्ट अ 10-year पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ व्हेन यू मेक इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इनटू प्रॉपर्टी. That's when you will see the true return.
बट एक ये थोड़ा सा मतलब एक इन्वेस्टमेंट का तरीका है ना कि आज अगर कोई नई जगह आई, कोई नया लैंड मिला, आपने उसमें इन्वेस्ट करा, आफ्टर 2 years 3 years whatever the cap is, उसमें वो it grows to next level, you sell that, then you buy another one, वो भी starting point पे लिया आपने. So that's how people make money, isn't it?
People have made money flipping properties. It's not impossible to do. But then you're dependent on the vagaries of the market. So the market has been going up consistently, तो सब margin trading कर रहे हैं कि मैंने प्रॉपर्टी खरीदी 20% दिया, उसके रेट 10% भी बढ़े तो मेरे आपको 20% पे 10% रिटर्न आ गया. So means I have made 50% return on my investment. If I give a concrete example कि 10 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी मैंने 2 करोड़ दिए, अगर वो 10 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी 10% इंक्रीज होती है तो 1 करोड़ का रिटर्न आ गया, तो मेरे को तो 2 पे 1 आ गया. But this is a very short-term thing, and when you get stuck in that investment, you will have to pay the full 10 crores. So you need to look at property as something in which you need to pay the full money, take the registry of the property, and then wait over the long term for it to grow. and then give you returns.
हम इसको इन शॉर्ट ये लेके चलें कि अगर आपने प्रॉपर्टी से पैसे कमाने हैं तो यू हैव टू बिकम अ रियल एस्टेट कंसल्टेंट ऑल्सो साइमल्टेनियसली, because you have to have the best of the knowledge. You need to know when to enter, when to exit. You should have the right people to help you to enter and exit, because not every time you will have the whole capital to invest in, and when you're taking an exit you need to have people who will buy it. एंड वो नॉलेज तभी आती है जब आई थिंक खुद आप एक एटलीस्ट कुछ सालों के एक्सपीरियंस से रियल एस्टेट कंसल्टेंट खुद होते हो. सो जैसे एक ये बात करते हैं ना कि जो गुड़गांव के रियल एस्टेट कंसल्टेंट्स हैं ना, they always move in luxury cars. I think they are the ones who've made money through this kind of flipping into properties. Am I correct?
Not necessarily. So it is a flashy business, not just in Gurgaon, everywhere in the world. So anywhere in the world that you go, the biggest car will always belong to the real estate consultant, most of the times bigger than the client themselves, because that's what the business is about. When people come in and they have to invest large sums of money, they want to be able to see that that person, number one, who's come to them, he seems to have the kind of net worth where he can handle this transaction. And number two, does he understand my lifestyle? I'm talking in terms of residential properties, right? So on the other side, what you said earlier was absolutely right, that if you want to become a trader in properties, of course, आपको market का कीड़ा बनना पड़ेगा. मार्केट का कीड़ा बनने के लिए ऑफ कोर्स आपको मार्केट में ट्रांजैक्ट करना पड़ेगा. अब आप किसी की भी चीज़ में भी ट्रेडिंग करना चाहते हो, अगर वो ड्राई फ्रूट्स भी हों, सबसे पहले आप कैसे काम शुरू करते हो? आप किसी मार्केट में जाते हो और उसमें एक कमीशन एजेंट बनते हो. आप यहाँ का माल वहाँ कराते हो और फिर बीच में कमीशन रखते हो. एज यू गेट मोर कॉन्फिडेंस यू स्टार्ट अंडरराइटिंग डील्स, इन द सेंस आप बोलते हो कि मैं इस रेट पे आपसे माल बुक कर लेता हूँ, एक दुकानदार को बोलते हो, और दूसरे दुकानदार को वो ट्रेड कर देते हो और उस पर मार्जिन कमाते हो. तीसरे स्टेज पे आप रिटेलर बन जाते हो, अपनी दुकान डाल देते हो, राइट, where you now have stock in your market and in your shop and you're selling it. Number 4 stage पे आप wholesaler बन जाते हो, जहाँ पे आप retailers को supply करते हो, and number 5 stage पे आप manufacturer बन जाते हो. That's precisely what happens in property. आप पहले commission agent बनते हो, उसके बाद आप हल्की फुल्की ट्रेडिंग शुरू कर देते हो, एक चीज़ को बुक करते हो, आगे दे देते हो. थर्ड स्टेज पे आप अंडरराइट करना शुरू कर देते हो, जहाँ पे आपकी दुकान में आप माल एक बिल्डर से लेके रख लेते हो, उसको बेचते हो. फोर्थ स्टेज पे आप होलसेलर बन जाओगे, where you'll have bulk inventory. Let's say you picked up 100 units per developer, you have a full team which is distributing it, and you're distributing through a retailer network, कि दूसरे ब्रोकर्स आपके नीचे काम कर रहे हो, क्योंकि आपने चैनल पार्टनर बना लिया, आप एक फाइनेंसर, अंडरराइटर बन गए, होलसेलर बन गए, एंड फाइनली आप जाके खुद बिल्डर बन जाते हो. So this backward integration happens through your career. That's how any industry works, and that's how real estate works.
So अगर मैं इसको थोड़ा सा अपने perspective से समझूं, और I would say that women के perspective से समझूं, today a lot of women are entering into real estate, which was not like this before. और okay, इससे पहले ना मैं एक चीज़ और समझना चाहूँगी, और something that might make you feel little nostalgic. रियल एस्टेट आज से 15 साल पहले और रियल एस्टेट कंसल्टेंट आज बहुत डिफरेंट है. पहले जो रियल एस्टेट वाले, जो रियल एस्टेट कंसल्टेंट को हम प्रॉपर्टी डीलर बोलते थे, क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन, क्या माइंडसेट होता था? स्कूटर पे आएगा और 4-5 आपको जगह दिखाएगा और आप डिसाइड करोगे. फ़ोन वोन भी उतना नहीं होता था, कोई फॉलो अप नहीं होता था. आज टीम्स बैठी हैं. हाउ यू हैव सीन दिस चेंज, दिस ट्रांजिशन? हाउ वाज दिस ट्रांजिशन फॉर यू?
Because the industry has professionalized significantly. The respect for people in the industry, particularly for women working in the industry, has gone up enormously, right? But the work is still the same. Okay, the business is still the same. The way it is conducted has changed over this period of time. Market has become, it's become much more systematic, much more professional. But at the same time, because there is so much information available out there now, the number of brokers in the market also has increased exponentially. Because this is one of those businesses in India in particular where there are no entry barriers, right? You don't need capital and you don't even need any kind of degrees or knowledge. You can just become a property consultant the day you decide to. Hence, the amount of competition in the market has also increased significantly. And at the same time, hence, a lot of mis-selling has also happened. So the industry has gone in a good direction, but also a lot of negative things have happened. But the government has come in with the right regulations like RERA and stuff, which has constrained developers and brokers within certain confined limits which they have to work within. and made the industry a little safer for investors. But तब भी गलत चीज़ें काफ़ी होती हैं, ठीक है. But overall, I think things have moved in a positive direction over the last 15 years.
So अब फ्रॉम स्कूटर आज हम BMW और मर्क में देखते हैं रियल एस्टेट कंसल्टेंट्स को, विच इज़ अमेजिंग. मतलब कहते हैं कि अगर आप कमा रहे हो तो आप मुझे भी कमा के दे पाओगे, अगर आप खुद ही नहीं कमा पाए तो मुझे क्या कमा के दोगे, राइट. सो वो एक ट्रस्ट आता है कहीं ना कहीं आपके कंसल्टेंट के ऊपर. वो कहते हैं कि जब हम बाल कटवाने के लिए जाते हैं तो उससे पूछते हैं तेरा हेयर कट किसने किया है. सो अगर आज आप BM चला रहे हो या आप मर्क चला रहे हो तो आप मेरे को भी दिलवा ही दोगे इवेंचुअली. सो कमिंग बैक to women entering into this business, since we spoke about things becoming more systematic, it has become more respectful, and today real estate consultants are not looked at just कि फ़ोन उठाओगे तो अवेलेबल होगा, उसकी भी अपॉइंटमेंट लेनी पड़ती है. सो women are entering into real estate. क्या चैलेंजेस हैं जो women के लिए आते हैं, क्या चीज़ें हैं उनको अपने माइंड में रखनी चाहिए बिफोर दे मे बी if they are 6 months into it, they're still swimming in the pond, they still don't know what to do, they're still lost somewhere. So क्या उनके लिए guidelines हैं coming from you कि how they can make it more respectful for them and how they can encourage more and more women to come and be a part of this industry. क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं कहते हैं ना, जिस बिज़नेस में जब लेडीज़ आ जाती है ना तो एक डेकोरम आ जाता है. जब सिर्फ लड़के काम कर रहे होते हैं ना तो एक अलग ही वो कॉलेज जो हॉस्टल होता है ना, मेंस हॉस्टल का एक अलग ही, बॉयज़ हॉस्टल का एक अलग ही एनवायरनमेंट होता है. बट जब गर्ल्स आ जाती है ना एक बोर्ड मीटिंग में, जब गर्ल्स बैठी होती है ना तो हमारी कॉन्वर्जेसन थोड़ी सी टर्न हो जाती है. तो व्हेन women आर एंटरिंग, हाउ दे शुड make it more available or more easy for other women who are thinking of getting into this profession?
So let's break this question up. There are many different lines to it. Number one, see, the challenges are very standard that women face across all industries in all parts of the world. That in general, it's much harder for them to establish themselves vis-a-vis men, because in general, the respect, the confidence that men give them, they do not give them their due. So the woman will be as capable as the man who's competing with her, but the man tends to get the job, right? So that is a very big challenge which women face, and they're used to facing, and they face it very well. When it comes to working within the industry, see, there's certain parts of the industry where there's absolutely no difference. If you go to the IPCs, women are extremely successful when you're dealing with corporate clients, dealing in commercial real estate. There is no difference between women and men doing those jobs. It's when it comes down to individual realtors who are dealing mostly in the residential segment with private clients. That's where it becomes a little challenging, because in the end it comes down to, particularly North India, a money management business, right? So you people are coming to you mostly as investors, right, who need to be handled. So maybe in the Delhi NCR market, 80-90% people coming to you who you're talking to are investors. They seem to, in general, because of the kind of societal upbringing that they've had, they seem to have more confidence in men, because within their own families and society, they've generally seen men handling the real estate decisions. So they feel that the woman will not be able to advise me to the same extent as the man. Number two, they feel that this is a rough trade. ठीक है. The person who's representing me needs to be tough. ठीक है. तो I would rather have a man representing me कि कल ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, कोई अगर किसी transaction में दिक्कत आती है, तो man will be able to handle it, maybe not the woman. So dealing with investors for women is generally more challenging. It's easier for the men to handle them. On the flip side, if you're dealing with end users, जिन्होंने घर खरीदना है, most decisions for homes eventually are taken by the lady of the house. So they would, in all likelihood, the woman realtor will be able to understand their requirement and connect with them much better than the male realtor. So it's relatively easier for women to sell homes than it is for men. So if you see markets, international markets, particularly in Western countries, you'll find a lot of the really large residential real estate agents will be women, because women take the decisions on buying homes. So I'll summarize again. IPC is doing commercial business, in corporates, no challenge, both are the same. Dealing with investors in general, men have an upper hand, because the investors want to deal with men. They feel it's a rough trade. Dealing in selling homes, women generally will have an upper hand.
So आपने अभी जैसे बोला कि जब लोग end users होते हैं जो घर खरीदने के लिए आते हैं, then उस time पे when a woman is showing a house, it creates a connect, right? So do you think that women of the house plays a role in finalizing the property?
The woman of the house, when you're finalizing a property to live in, a house, I think is the most critical person. So typically what we see is that the men will come up front for the initial visits. They will zero in on the houses that they feel that their wives would like. And they, of course, know the numbers, the finances, and they zero in on those properties, basis the budget. And then eventually it is the woman who finalizes the final place.
Say, Kate bhi hoti hai us time.
Absolutely. They can just step in and you immediately know that the husband has agreed to everything and it's a no. From the face you can make out in 1 second. Because the reactions, women, your reactions also you can make out fairly quickly. So within a second, and they will come in with a very definitive purpose. You'll find every single woman buyer who comes will have some purpose in mind. You'll see them in a very focused way going, somebody will come just first and foremost go to the kitchen. Somebody will want to look at the master bathroom and the master bedroom. So they have very specifically defined goals for their house. किसी को चाहिए होता है कि जी party area कहाँ है, and they will straight away head to that thing. And if it's not as per their expectation, it's a no, irrespective of whatever else is there.
So कहीं ना कहीं I'm sure वास्तु भी रोल प्ले करता होगा.
Very major role. Very major role.
वास्तु को कंसिडर करके क्या हमें घर लेना चाहिए और क्या हम गलतियां कर जाते हैं वास्तु के टाइम पे जो नहीं करनी चाहिए, बिकॉज आप एक प्रोफेशनल अप्रोच दे रहे हो, आपने इतने क्लाइंट्स को देखा है, तो आपको क्या लगता है लोग क्या गलतियां करते हैं वास्तु के कंसिडर करते टाइम, घर को लेते टाइम?
So when we think of Vastu, it all comes down to what makes you comfortable. If you believe in it, for sure you should then buy a Vastu compliant home, because peace of mind cannot be replaced irrespective of what property you buy. Now, what is it that the compromises that people make vis-a-vis Vastu? First thing is you have to understand, if you're buying a built-up property, आपको कभी 10 on 10 वास्तु वाली प्रॉपर्टी नहीं मिलेगी. आप अपना प्लॉट खरीद के घर बनाना चाहते हो, आप उसको 10 on 10 बना सकते हो, इन कंस्ट्रक्टेड प्रॉपर्टी नहीं मिलेगी. तो आपके माइंड में बहुत क्लियर होना चाहिए कि आप कौन से कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ करोगे. दिस शुड बी, बिकॉज यू विल हैव टू मेक सम कॉम्प्रोमाइज़. नाउ देयर आर सर्टन वेरी बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स दैट एवरीबडी इन नॉर्थ इंडिया फॉर श्योर फॉलोज, कि जी मेरी एंट्री आइडियली नॉर्थ ईस्ट फेसिंग होनी चाहिए निकलते हुए, मेरी किचन साउथ ईस्ट में होनी चाहिए, मास्टर बेडरूम साउथ वेस्ट में होना चाहिए, नॉर्थ ईस्ट में कोई WC नहीं होना चाहिए. अब इन चारों चीज़ों में अगर कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ करना पड़ता है, व्हाट इज़ योर लिस्ट ऑफ प्रायोरिटीज़, बिकॉज यू मे लाइक द हाउस बट कोई ना कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ करना पड़ेगा. उसके कोई उपाय हैं नहीं हैं? डू यू बिलीव इन द उपायज? Does architectural vastu work for you? Again, it comes to faith. Some people do, and they're ready to make the biggest compromises and then do the upay. कि अगर उन्होंने धातु डालना है WC के around, they're happy doing it. Many people do not want to do that compromise at all when it comes to a WC. So it all depends on you. You should have clarity in your mind. You should go with the mindset कि 100% वास्तु compliant नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, अब मैं इसमें कौन से compromises करूँगा.
So वास्तु सबके लिए सेम नहीं होता. मेरे लिए कुछ नंबर्स अच्छे हैं तो मेरे लिए कोई चीज़ अच्छी होएगी, आपके लिए कुछ और नंबर्स हैं कुछ और अच्छे होंगे. तो क्या डू यू सजेस्ट पर्सन समबडी हु इज़ बाइंग अ हाउस, डू यू सजेस्ट कि वो अपने लिए एक वास्तु कंसल्टेंट हायर कर ले, और जो एक रैंडम इंस्टाग्राम रील्स में बोल रहे हैं कि ये ठीक है वो गलत है, उस पर ब्लाइंडली ना जाए?
So see, Vastu is something which we've seen come up very new in North India currently. It's kind of a fad over the last 8-10 years, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger fad with every year. They follow certain very standard basic principles which I mentioned last time. When I think further back, and I think of clients from South India and from East India, the Marwari clientele who comes from India, as you said, Vastu is something very personal. Many of them and the gurus who come with them are dealing with Vastu specifically to them basis their kundli, theek hai, when they were born, theek hai, and their numbers, as you said. And certain things can be extremely negative for the individuals as per their guru, and certain things are not. In North India, it's become extremely standardized. It's like a textbook. So everybody is following the same thing. So Southwest entry ji nahi leni, Northeast mein bathroom nahi hona chahiye, which of course scientifically there are basis for not having these things. But I feel that if you really want to do Vastu, then you should find the right Vastu consultant and work with them rather than just following Instagram reels.
आपकी कोई सेल किल हुई है वास्तु की वजह से?
Multiple times होती हैं, people come and they will not find it. So ideally you want them to first, people who are very particular about Vastu, you ask them upfront and you want them to get their Vastu consultant along whenever they are looking at properties. So they will do all their homework and eventually the Vastu consultant will kill the
Your
sale.
team starts the pitch by saying, "Sir, ये वास्तु compliant घर है, आ जाओ दिखाते हैं आपको."
हाँ, ये मोटी मोटी बातें तो अब सभी को पता है, the 3-4 things I told you. तो सब इसी से शुरू करते हैं कि मोटा मोटा वास्तु ठीक है, आगे आप आके देख लो.
मोटा मोटा वास्तु क्या होता है?
कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर अपार्टमेंट्स हैं या फ्लोर्स हैं तो वो प्लॉट की एंट्री नहीं देखते लोग, ज़्यादातर 99% लोग फ्लोर की एंट्री देखते हैं. तो एंट्री से एग्जिट करते हुए व्हेन यू आर स्टैंडिंग इनसाइड आउट लुकिंग आउट, यू आइडली वांट योर एंट्री टू बी परफेक्ट, वुड बी नॉर्थ ईस्ट फेसिंग या मिनिमम नॉर्थ या नॉर्थ वेस्ट फेसिंग या ईस्ट फेसिंग हो, राइट? यू डोंट वांट अ साउथ फेसिंग एंट्री. You want your kitchen ideally in the southeast zone, if not then in the northwest zone. You want your master bedroom in the southwest zone, and northeast के पूरे zone में कोई bathroom ना हो. So it's very hard to achieve in any apartment or floor because there'll be a lot of other compromises when you do that. But this is मोटा मोटा what people look at. And अगर plot होते हैं तो typical requirement लोगों की ये होती है कि it should not be south facing and T point नहीं लगना चाहिए residential plot में, and शेर मुखा नहीं होना चाहिए.
हाँ, मैं पूरी लाइफ टी पॉइंट वाले घर में रही हूँ, तो अगेन किसी को सूट करता है, किसी को नहीं करता. मतलब आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट मेरी लाइफ बहुत आसान थी, आसान किसी की भी नहीं होती. मैं कहीं और रहती होती तो पता नहीं कैसी होती, बट माई पेरेंट्स लव्ड मी, आई वॉज अ हैप्पी चाइल्ड एंड आई गॉट मैरिड टू अ नाइस मैन. मेरी लाइफ का क्रक्स स्टेइंग इन अ टी. हर्डल्स आती हैं, मतलब ऐसा नहीं वो सबके लिए ही आती हैं. तो आई ऑल्सो फील कि वास्तु हर एक के लिए हर चीज़ सेम नहीं होती, सबका अपना अपना होता है. आपने ना एक वर्ड यूज़ करा बीच में, फैड. उससे ना मुझे कुछ याद आया. इज़ दुबई अ फैड? Properties in Dubai, investing in Dubai, everybody is talking about it. What is your say on it?
So everything in today's day and age is in some sense a fad because social media makes everything a fad. But overall, Dubai market has been phenomenal. The kind of returns people have made, the kind of deliveries they're doing there, the kind of lifestyle people can achieve there cannot be achieved in any other part of the world. So I won't call it a fad as such that it is, some sort of scam or it is a scheme which, is going to fail. Dubai is a phenomenal market and people... It is a rat race in some sense. If you go and live in Dubai, yes, of course, everybody is running. Nobody is rich there. Eventually, everybody feels poor when you're in Dubai. But yeah, it's a phenomenal market and a great investment market and a great place to stay as well.
Have you explored the investments in Dubai?
We have been studying them over the last 12 months. We have not really actively worked in that market so far. We've been too busy here over the last 4-5 years. But yeah, it's a very interesting market and everybody should explore it.
So tell me something, which is the most difficult thing or the dirtiest thing that you have seen in real estate, which I think your ethics don't approve of?
So see, real estate is a kind of rough kind of business where you see a lot of negative stuff happening on a daily basis. But the thing that I find the worst is when large developers with huge amounts of money cheat people who are putting in their entire lifetime savings into properties. For example, like what we recently heard or saw in the papers about, say, 32nd Milestone, where, the same property has been sold to so many people. These cases are unlikely ever to get solved, and those people's money, and they were small investors who had put in their hard-earned money to get some sort of return on their money, is kind of gone forever. That's the worst thing that you could possibly see happening.
Any, personal experience you have seen with any of the investor in 32nd Milestone?
No, I don't have any personal experience. We didn't have any investors there.
बिल्डर्स तो गड़बड़ करते ही करते हैं, वो तो चलो कहीं ना कहीं हम सुनते ही रहते हैं. बट एक जैसे मूवी ना खोसला का घोंसला, ऐसे एपिसोड्स भी बहुत होते हैं जहाँ सेम प्रॉपर्टी मैंने भी 2-4 जगह पे बेच दिया, मेरे भी मतलब मैंने किसी को चाबी दे रखी थी, उसी ने ही 2-4 जगह वो कर दिया. तो कुछ ऐसे भी एपिसोड्स होते हैं, आपने कभी देखे हैं होते हुए?
तो आपको स्पेसिफिकली मैं बताऊं, जो आप खोसला का एग्जांपल ले रहे हो ना, और जो उन्होंने बेस की है मूवी बेसिस प्रॉपर्टी डीलर्स इन साउथ वेस्ट दिल्ली एंड गुड़गांव, वैसे बहुत सारे कैरेक्टर हैं हमारी मार्केट में और ऐसे कई इंस्टेंसेस होते हैं जहाँ पे लोग प्रॉपर्टी रेंट पे लेके फिर उसी के फर्जी कागज़ बना के आगे बेच देते हैं. देयर हैव बीन सो मेनी सच केसेस एट वेरी लार्ज स्केल ऑल्सो. जैसे वो जो केस हुआ था जहाँ पे द डायमंड मर्चेंट सूरज मेहता, दे हैड टेकन प्रॉपर्टीज ऑन रेंट अक्रॉस द कंट्री for their retail jewelry outlets, और फिर उन्हीं के फर्जी पेपर बना के उन्होंने बैंक को दे के लोन ले लिए थे और फिर सारे भाग गए हैं. So there are many such instances which do take place, and those movies are based actually on facts.
राइट. एक आपने ना अभी एक चीज़ बोली जो मेरे को थोड़ा सा ट्रिगर करे. अगर किसी को घर खरीदना है और उसके पेपर्स चेक करने हैं तो क्या तरीका होता है किसी के पेपर्स को चेक करने का बिफोर यू बाय into resale, like if you're buying something in a resale?
Of course, you'll check all the original papers yourself, and so will your realtor. He will go and look at all the papers. The best way to get your due diligence done is to take a small loan on the property, whether you need it or not. तो छोटा सा लोन ज़रूर ले लेना चाहिए. बैंक अपनी पूरी ड्यू डिलिजेंस करता है तो उससे पूरी क्लैरिटी हो जाती है कि पेपर्स क्लियर हैं या नहीं है.
So I would like to ask you a few questions wherein I want you to be a little more spontaneous, and I want like short, quick answers. Flats or plots, which is a better investment?
Lots.
Top 5 investment opportunities outside Gurgaon as an end user or as an investor?
Bombay, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, and then maybe besides that fifth be Dubai.
Wonderful. A good developer at a bad location or a bad developer at a good location? What's your preference?
Neither, but probably bad developer at good location if I have to choose between the two.
What matters more, entry price or the exit liquidity?
Exit liquidity.
What excites you today which did not excite you 5 years ago?
There's a lot more transparency in the market, and you know exactly what you're getting into and when you will get delivery.
Which is the most common mistake that most buyers make?
They're confused about the purpose for which they're buying the property. Whether they're buying it for use or they're buying it as an investment, they always do a hybrid deal and they always lose out.
Thank you so much for coming here. And one thing that I would like to ask you before I let you go, if a woman is listening and wants to invest in next 12 months, what are the 3 steps that you would like to tell them or they should look at when they're investing?
Be very, very sure, number 1, about your budget. Number 2, do your homework very, very thoroughly. And number 3, be ready to dirty your shoes. You will need to go visit the sites, visit the developers, and then make your decision.
Thank you so much. One quote that Mr. Pavan Kohli abide by?
One thing that our industry runs on is trust. And trust is either 0% or 100%. There is no 80% trust.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming, sir. It was pleasure talking to you. I hope you had a good time. Would love to talk more in detail, maybe in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching us. अगर आपको हमारा एपिसोड अच्छा लगा हो तो लाइक और सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर कर लीजिएगा.